how would you like to make your first million? And today we have Gil Petersil with us, and he's the founder of Meet Partners, and he also involved in other companies. So Gil, tell us, what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million? And you join us from Bali, which is amazing.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Joining you from all the other side of the world. I've lived in so many countries, and after 20 plus successful failures in businesses, I've learned how to make millions. I've learned how to lose millions. I believe all those 5 steps are all somehow following under the arts and sciences of human networking. These days, I coined it quantum networking mechanics. So I really believe that if any entrepreneur wants to make that first 10,000, 100,000, million, or 10 million, they need to understand, first of all, what's happening with their network. Step number one, who do I have around me? Who's got my back? So the team, making sure that you got some people. They don't have to be the best team in the world. They don't have to be the perfect team, but you need a team. Stop being a solopreneur out there. Number two, hey, I don't have all the answers. Someone out there's got the answers. Mentors, again, falling on the networking. Do I know what kind of mentors do I need? Am I willing to ask for help for mentorship out there? Do I have the courage to go out and say, hey, I don't have all the answers in the world. Can someone give me some tips and answers to move forward? Number three, which is to me, one of the most important steps of networking in general, it's finding collaborators. Who out there is potentially going after a similar mission? They have a similar vision, but they're not competing with me. How can I look at collaborators, strategic partnerships, joint ventures? But it's someone that I can collaborate with. They're not my client. They're not my investor. They're not my team member. They're not my mentor. They're a collaborator, someone that can help me move forward. And at the same time, I'm helping them move forward. Number four for me, of course, is clients. Who's going to give me money? Who out there wants my services and my product that's going to give me money? Without that, don't start your business. Know who your clients are. Sometimes some people say, okay, you know what? For the first year, I don't need any clients. I just want to do R&D and figure things out. No problem. Know your clients, know who that avatar is, making sure you know what that client wants, how you can serve them, how you can build relationships with them. And number five for me is really key. It's to understand who are potentially my investors. Investors are not necessarily people that will just give you money when you need it. Investors are people that are just going to want to see you succeed. So they're ready to invest their money, their time, their energy, their resources, and their network into your business.
So 86% of entrepreneurs in the United States doesn't make more than 100,000 a year. So it's better for them to have a job. So
Well, so
why
many
you
people in the
decided to
world out
become?
there, are trying to become an entrepreneur when they shouldn't. If they don't understand how to network properly, don't become an entrepreneur. Going to work for other entrepreneurs.
Yeah, exactly. Why you decide to become an entrepreneur on the first place? Do you were aware of all those risks?
Well, it's interesting. I've been an entrepreneur since the age of 13. And back then, I just wanted to make some money because I wanted to have a little bit of freedom, even though I was still living in the house with my family. But my parents couldn't really give me much money back then. And for some reason, I needed money. I wanted money to go out with friends. I wanted money to buy something for my girlfriend. I just wanted money. And then through my life, at the age of already 18, I started getting jobs. But I remember that at any given time, while I had a job from the age of 18 until the age of 33, I always had some sort of an entrepreneurial venture on the side. I always wanted to make more money than that job gave me. Since the age of 33, it's been nonstop entrepreneurial ventures all over the world. I've been a serial entrepreneur, setting up companies all over the place. And as I said, I have failed a lot. I believe in successful failures. And the most amazing thing, even now, as a super active entrepreneur, at the age of 47 young, I also took on a job with an amazing organization, but it's not really a job. It's more of an adventure with them. I have a position, I have a salary, I have a commission, but it's not one of those 9 to 5. It just makes a lot of sense. It's what I believe that some entrepreneurs out there could also explore. what other company out there needs my services, needs my solution, needs my energy? Maybe I sit on the board of a company and add value to them while running my own entrepreneurial ventures.
So, which one has been your biggest challenge in business, and how you become the challenge?
Challenges come nonstop. Challenges. I'm in Aries. This has been my month, and I've been attracting challenges, opportunities into all of my entrepreneurial ventures. I don't know if I could think about the biggest one, but I would say in general, one of the biggest opportunities and biggest challenges is people. It's getting the right people to align with the mission, getting the right people to join my train, my boat, this kind of fast moving rocket that wants to impact the world and give back to the world. And I've hired hundreds of people over my now, and I've not really fired many, but some have left and some have moved on to other places, and some have maybe taken over some shares and taken over some of my companies in the past. And I think that's been always the biggest challenge, to find incredible people that want to be a part of a mission that's so much bigger than all of us, where we need to put our egos away and we need to be able to see, hey, what could we do together? How can we collaborate together? How is this not mine, but it's ours, in order for us to make a bigger impact and add more value to serve the right people in the world?
So, talking about ego, entrepreneurs, we don't have ego, otherwise we won't be entrepreneurs. We think that we can do better. However, you point out something very important, which is we have to put our ego aside and it's to control people in our organization. It's not about you, it's about we. I remember when I made my first property business. At the beginning, I was thinking that I'm a big deal, I'm a big boss. Everybody have to do whatever I say, and I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. Everything had to be run through me. We have like 177 clients. At some point, all of them want to speak with me, and all the team need to run everything. And yes, the money in the bank account, but I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm in bad mood. I'm sleeping very little. And once I surrendered that ego and I started our thing in our organization, I remember I took one of my manager, Eva, and I told Eva, from now you have me. She's like, what? Yeah, you have me. Everybody that wants to talk to me, they will talk to you, and whatever you decide, it's fine. Don't even tell me. I don't want to know. And and then and then in the team, we told them, look, if we have a problem, bring a solution, and we pick the solution that I think is better. We try. If it works, if it doesn't. Uh, One day I arrived to the office and the team told me, Harry, go home. We don't need you anymore. We can grow this company without you, which was something amazing that happened to me. The first day I didn't understand what's going on. But the second, remember I told Eva, my mom, yeah, who's going to buy the paper for the photocopy? Huh? Who's going to do that? And they're telling me, Harry, don't worry. We can buy our own paper for the photocopy. It's fine. So, but I have to do a transition, and without knowing, I became a leader, which is the first, not only a leader, but develop leadership within the organization, which is something that we didn't sign up for. We signed off to have a product, sell it, and make some money, right? This is what we want to do. Now we realize that if we want to grow, we have to let go that ego, and we have to become leaders. So when do you realize, G, that okay, this ego thing that we all have, it has to be managed, otherwise we won't be able to grow.
It's such a powerful question. Thank you for that. I'll be very, very. I'm still working on my ego. Over the years, I've
We all
moved.
are. We all
I've
are,
moved
because
businesses.
we won't be
I
entrepreneurs.
Well, I've businesses. I've changed industries. I changed countries 8 times, and every single time I change countries, I had to start all over again. So I had to build my network again, and I had to build up that confidence, and I had to kind of get the right people to support me and the right people to see who it is that I am, and rebuild my brand every single time I'm countries. And every single time that happened, the ego suddenly shows up, because it's like, you're meeting with some new people, but they don't necessarily know your past, so that you're the one that's coming up with the answers because you believe you have the answers because of my past experience. But these people that have just met you, they don't know that you have the answers. They don't know that I've, produced more than 2,000 events. They don't know that I've worked with some of the biggest speakers in the world, and I've, spent a lot of time with Tony Robbins and Eckhart Tolle and Jay Abraham, the most amazing people. And they don't know that. And they don't know that I have so much successful failures and something that we're talking about right now. So sometimes instead of telling them, well, how about you guys figure it out and, let's get them, like, listen, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know how to do this. Just get it done. I've done this before. Many people see that as the ego, and not people don't necessarily see that as, clear leadership. He knows what to do. No need to figure it out. No need to spend 2 hours on it. He could tell us how to do it in 5 minutes. I'm still learning how to say it in the best way so that I don't hurt people's feelings, and that, I don't necessarily come across as an a-hole, and many, many sins. And unfortunately, it still happens to me today with people that just meet me the first time. And again, I'm a sharpshooter. I just want to get to the point, and if there are 5 problems and I know how to solve 4 of them, I want to get those out of the way and then let the team solve the 5th problem that, maybe I don't know the exact answer to. So ego is still there. I think living in Bali and being on a deep spiritual journey, I've learned how to be more of a leader and less of a manager. I've learned to listen to people a lot more and empower people to do a lot more. And I'm still working on it. I'm a young guy. I'm only 47 young. So I still have a long way to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 49. So we have a lot to go. So Jim, tell us about all those countries that you have been live on and why you travel a lot. Yeah, I find out myself when I travel. When if you have an idea, a business idea, and you're stuck, all of a sudden you go to Dubai, you go to another country, and after 10 days, 5 days there, wow, everything gets on a stock. And we've been maybe for 6 months. So changing the environment in case is key in order to progress. And I'm a big fan of traveling. I travel a lot. You meet new cultures, new food. Like for example, Bali, when I spent time there was spectacular. So tell us about why you change so many countries, and tell us the country that you have lived on, and what is your favorite thing of each country you have lived on.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I've moved countries in my life always because I have had a deep thing that something else is calling me, or somewhere else is calling me. It's almost like I've planted seed in network, and managed to develop the seeds and nurture the seeds, and seeds being people, seeds being relationships that were able to grow. And I always felt that once I get to that stage, and I was like, well, I feel like I've done a lot for this network. I've served this network quite a bit. So somehow I every decade or so, I lived a decade of my life. Like now I'm living for 6 years already in Bali. And right before Bali, we were living in Singapore for a few years with my family. I got 3 little kids. So made 1 kid in Bali and made 1 kid in Singapore. I made 1 kid in Russia. I used to live in Russia for 10 years.
Singapore is amazing.
I lived in Canada for 10 years. I lived in
Wow.
England for almost 10 years. I lived in Israel for 10 years. I lived in the US for almost a year. And every single time I lived somewhere, I kind of felt like, hey, I could serve. I can make a difference. I can really impact the network around me. And I can't say that there's one place that's my favorite. I would say that where I live right now, Bali is my favorite because it's where I live right now. It's where I know it's best. It's where it's best for me and for my family right now. And every single time I've moved, it was a little bit scary, but also exciting because I was like, hey, I get to start all over again. I get to build networks and I get to build some friendships around the neighborhood or around the community. I get to rebuild my brand in a better way. Hey, how can I do it better this time? So I know that for many people, change is challenging. I tell people, hey, change your haircut is one thing, changing job is another, changing a relationship is another, but changing countries, is one of the most incredible ways of opening up your heart, opening up your soul, and
100%.
opening up all the opportunities around you.
To a new culture, to a new, and then, but the most impressive is because you're an entrepreneur, you are able to design your. And by the way, I live in London for 20 years, and I travel a lot to Singapore to do workshops there. It's amazing. They have something called satay with peanut butter. Oh my god, I love this thing over there. And this soup that they do in Singapore, that it's all the water, and then you put the vegetables that you wanted them, and it's amazing. I pick and find the soups that they sell there. And again, yeah, every country gives you a different perspective, right? And you have a more worldwide vision if you're an entrepreneur. But the thing is, you manage to design your life how you want to live, right? For that, you have to be not only a serial entrepreneur, you need to know what kind of business you're going to get involved, and in order to suit the lifestyle that you want to have. Like, for example, now you want to live in Bali. Well, clearly you can own a restaurant in UK, because if you own a restaurant in UK, it's the type of business that you have to be at least around to manage the operation. So how you realize that, okay, I'm an entrepreneur, but I cannot be involved in all businesses. I need to choose businesses that suit my lifestyle. And today you're in Bali, but if in the next 4 years you want to move, I don't know, to South Africa, you need to, you have the foundation that allow you to do that, that give you the freedom to move. In terms of businesses, when do you realize that you have to be careful what type of business you get involved, because you don't want your freedom and your lifestyle to be compromised?
I think that in general, we can think ahead. We can plan ahead a little bit. And it's not about planning exact steps, but it's thinking, hey, in 2-3 years, if I could live anywhere in the world, where would I live and why? And in my case, for example, I just turned 47 a few weeks ago, and I made a decision that if I have the choice and everything works out and life just moves that way, by the time I'm 50, I'd like to live in Japan. Now, it's really interesting because I've never been to Japan yet, but I made that decision that, I want to consider just as an option, if I was going to move anywhere, where would I be? And then I can already think about, okay, who do I have in the network that's in Japan? So recently, for example, I spent a lot of time with Ken Honda, and he's invited me to come and spend time with him there in his events. And one of my dear friends, Akira Iguchi, is a very famous speaker there in biohacking and, longevity. And suddenly I'm thinking, okay, what network do I have there that would help me have a soft landing? So for me, whenever someone's thinking about where to move, it's not about what business can I open there. It's like, what network do I have there that could potentially give me options and opportunities? Now, I'm at a stage in my life where for more than 15 years, I've been very involved in the events business, produced events all over the world. I've been a promoter for other people. I was one of the biggest promoters in the world for Tony Robbins for many, many years, co-hosted the biggest event for him for 26,000 people. This was before COVID. And that was amazing. That was in Moscow, in Russia. That was like massive.
Wow.
And because I've held different positions where I've been the event organizer, I've been the promoter for other people's events, I've been the speaker bureau representing speakers, and I've been the speaker myself. I've helped coaches to get them business, and I've also been the coach. I have found that I can also adjust a little bit what it is that I do. And I've owned software companies, I've owned restaurants and juice bars, and I've been kind of shy from trying something new. So in the last couple of years, I went very deep into the world of tea. And instead of just selling tea, I'm helping tea producers, I'm helping tea houses. We create very unique tea experiences around the highest level events in the world, from World Economic Forum to a crypto event to and some sort of even at the Ken Honda event, I was the one serving tea to our VIP table, and also the Ken on stage. We go to family office events. So I've been able to set up different businesses that all have to do with serving people and helping people have a better experience at events, and helping people connect to each other, which has still been my biggest mission for so many years, is helping humanity connect. And these days with T, we can help humanity connect into a community with more unity and more prosperity in a very healthy way. So it's I tell people, don't be afraid of change and explore what it is that you can do, because again, even at the age of 47 young, I'm still able to change something. And recently I started working with an organization called Human Garage. I never knew about fascia movement and fascia maneuvers, moving our body to be more healthy and to let go of stress and let go of traumas. And suddenly I'm finding myself as one of the executives with the biggest wellness movement in the world, Human Garage. So I think that not everyone out there is like me, so adventurous and so risk-taking, but ask yourselves this: if the network out there is there to serve you, how are you serving it right now? How are you nurturing this network that you have? How are you helping people, not when you need them, but help them constantly and think ahead of time, like help good people that are helping others, help impactful people that are impacting the world. And one day you might need to call upon them because you're suddenly in a new country or you're in a new industry, and that's the person that's going to have your back.
The Ken Holland is amazing. I know him personally. One social friend, and so kind and so humble that is it's luxury to be around his energy. Then regarding the events and the network, there was at some point in my life as an entrepreneur that I realized that you don't focus in your brand and your network. If you only focus to know that and to build that, um, then you can plug any business into that. So sometimes we have the priority wrong. We want to just do the business and make money. Whether what this we found with first time founders, they are all passionate about the product. My product is the best. My product is gonna solve the world. My product is amazing. Where you see second time founders that they are more focus in sales and marketing. They understand if they have the right marketing strategy and the sales process, they will be able to plug across that skill set and make money. However, the third time founders, they're thinking exactly like you. See, they are thinking, okay, what if we don't build the community? What if we don't build the network first? Then we design a marketing and sales strategy to communicate with that network. And finally, even that network is going to tell us what kind of product they want to buy, how much they want to pay. And then you bring the product there, which is completely different dynamic like it used to be before you, because when you started your career as an entrepreneur, those gigs that you have on the side, they were the opposite dynamic, right? You have a product, you want to sell it, you want to make some money. So tell us, and you started this podcast and you say network is everything. So when when you have that breakthrough that, oh, I'm doing everything processing in the
Yeah, so it's such a beautiful question because I have been moving around the world. You know, I'm an immigrant since the age of 10 when my family decided they wanted to immigrate to Canada. And I didn't understand what the word networking was back then, of course. But at the age of 18, I already started listening to Tony Robbins. Back then, I was buying his CDs. And he didn't talk too much about networking, but he did speak about the network. And back then, I already started understanding that it's really important to build relationships. Now, imagine I'm an immigrant. I don't speak English very well back then. I'm an introvert by nature. So suddenly telling me that I need to start networking was like, oh my God, like my biggest fear. But I had motivation in my early 20s. I wanted to make money and I wanted to meet women. Very, very simple. Very good motivations to go out there and network. And in my early 20s, I moved from Canada to England. So imagine I'm in my 20s. I got no friends. I just moved to a new city. There is no Facebook. There is no social media yet. So I had to figure out how do you build networks? How do you connect to people? And I've tried it all. I've experimented a lot. It was really only in my 30s when I moved from England to Russia that a local university said to me, hey, can you come and teach a class about networking? I'm like, teach a class? Like, one, I've never been to university myself, so I can't really teach at a university. And second, I don't know how to teach it. Why are you asking me? And they said, well, so many of our students know you, and they said that you would be the best at teaching it. I was like, okay, I'm flattered. I'll come in. And they even offered to pay me. And that was quite flattering in my early 30s to be paid to speak about something that I had to basically figure out. And I've made more mistakes than most people I can imagine. And back then, I didn't know what I know today. Today, I'm certain that I'm the #1 student in the world in the arts and sciences of human networking. I'm a scientist when it comes to human connection. I've been studying and I've coined quantum networking mechanics because I've understood the importance of it. And I understood that how networking is not something shallow that we've learned in the West about using people, about exchanging business cards. Networking to me are a set of spiritual practices. It's a very deep way of understanding myself. Networking with myself is big. Networking with God, the universe, people call it prayer meditation. People network with animals. That's why we take an animal for a walk. You know, some people network with nature. That's why they hug trees. But imagine that most of our awakened time, what we do is we network with other people. And then I started very curious and saying, well, if I have all this time that I'm awake every day, can I choose? Can I prioritize who I network with? Can I give a little bit of time to people I know, a little bit of time to people I haven't spoken to in a long time, from 6 months ago, or a year ago? And then can I leave some time to explore new networks, going to an event outside of my comfort zone, stepping into an event outside of my industry just to explore what does that mean? And, you know, still today, I'm an introvert by nature, but I have taught the subject of networking over 1,000 times all over the world. And still until today, I have to count 1, 2, 3 when I'm walking up to a billionaire or to a celebrity, just because inside of me, there's still that little kid that says, well, am I really enough? Is this really the right time to walk up to this celebrity? And these days in my head, I'm like, 1, 2, 3, of course it is. Walk up, say hello, see if you can add value.
So where in England you were living?
I lived in London, of course. People were telling me, hey, go to live in Northwest London. You'll meet a lot of nice, friendly young people. So I moved to London. It was 27 years ago. That's when I moved to London. I was in the banking industry, and then I got into the organic health and food industry, and I helped setting up like a Whole Foods and many, many other health shops. It was a very unique time in my life where, again, changing industries was not easy, but it was a very beautiful way of connecting.
London, I live in London for 20 years, and it's spectacular. This is what we have our first business. We're doing property. We're doing rent to rent in London. We're renting the unit. Back 2008, 2007, 2008. We're renting the houses and then renting the units individually. And it was, they call it services. And yeah, crazy things. Yeah, I own in a school in London. I didn't speak English. So that was crazy times when then London is so multicultural and a lot of things happening that and you find right now. I want to Gil, tell us a little bit more about that event that you organized for, for you said people. Wow, that's huge.
That was in 2018.
Right before come.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit more about this
So
event.
in 2018, in 2018, my company Meet Partners came to a Tony Robbins event in Singapore, and we brought with us 1,600 of our own clients and members from the community with us to the event in Singapore. And that was the biggest ever delegation that came in from other countries to a Tony Robbins event as one community.
Wow.
And that was so big for us. That was a massive achievement. It was a record. No one has ever come close to beating us. And at that event, I remember so clearly on day 3 of the event, Tony's team comes to me and says, "Hey, you got an option. Do you want to go see Tony in his hotel after he gets off of stage? Or do you want to get on stage and make an announcement that you came with the biggest delegation?" I'm like, hold on. You asked me to go on stage after Tony gets off or to go to his hotel. I'm like, that's not fair. So I had to make a decision and I let my wife go on stage. I was like, please, please, you go on stage. She's like, why? What do you like? You're the professional speaker, not me. She went on stage and announced that we had the biggest delegation ever. It was such a blessing. I went to Tony's hotel to meet up with him, and we shook hands and agreed that 6 months later, at the time I was living in Russia, I know Russia is not so popular in the news these days, and I agreed that he would come to Moscow and he would get on stage.
Wow.
And, the requirement his team had was 10,000 people. But myself and our partners at the time, we were overachievers. So 26,000 people is what we were going for, because it was the
Wow.
maximum amount of people you can have in the stadium we were in. And that was an absolutely amazing event. I wouldn't again. It was not a walk in the park. It was not easy
It's
at all.
intense.
Yeah,
It's
it was a
very
lot more than
intense.
intense. But for me, it was a big
Learning
honor.
experience.
Well, it was a big honor because I remember so clearly that, in 2015, I was in Tony Robbins' event in London. And at that time, in 2015, we brought 1,200 people to London. So
I
we
remember.
achieved
I was there in
achieved
that.
big number. And I
I
went
knew.
backstage and spoke to Tony, and he said, "Wow, you're doing something no one has ever done before. This is 2015." I was like, "Yeah, I'm loving it. We're enjoying it. It's a good business. Tony, you've helped us make millions of dollars from this business. It's amazing. And we're saving people's lives and we're changing people's lives. This is amazing." And he's like, "Do you have any dreams?" Like, "Yeah, my dream is to share the stage with you." And he's like laughing. And he's like, "Well, the way we're going to share the stage together is if you're going to invite me for an event." I'm like, "Done." He's like, "When?" I'm like, "I don't know how, but give me 3 years and I'll get you on stage in Moscow." And it's exactly 3 years later from that date that I managed to get him on stage in Moscow. Of course, I didn't do it alone. There were incredible partners that came and helped us with it. It was something that I'm very, very proud of. It's the way to help people in the world right now. I have coaches and speakers and entrepreneurs coming to me all the time and asking me how I achieve such goals. And my answer to them is always this: I always look into the network. I always look to see if I can quantum leap, if I can see how to observe who could be strategic partners, who could be collaborators. And one of my biggest passions today is to work with entrepreneurs, to help them find collaborators, to help them see something they don't see. I'm a strategist, and I like showing people more beauty in the network that they don't usually see. People have blind spots in life. We have amazing blind spots in our network. We don't actually know how to network. We don't know how to connect. We're not really good at reconnecting, the idea of following up, and we're awful at disconnecting. And this has been my surgery. This has been my ikigai, my dharma. It's all about helping people to understand how to connect, reconnect, and disconnect, and continuously doing it like a beautiful regenerative network that's an ecosystem that's constantly serving each other.
So, Jill, if someone is in love with this conversation, how people can find you, how this process works? Tell us about your companies.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, it's easy. I'm the only Gil Petersil on Google. I don't think there's going to be another Gil Petersil in this lifetime that I'm at, so it makes it a little bit easier. Anyone can find me in any social media. If they leave me a message and they want to talk to me, my team will make sure to let me know. And I love coming back to people because my interest is not to have followers. I want to build relationships with people. So the least I'm going to give them is a couple of minutes of my time. Sometimes I'll do it with a voice message or a video message so they know it's really me. I help people to scale into new countries. So when people want to go global, that's when they reach out to me. Whether it's a massive organization that's doing millions already, or whether it's a smaller company that's doing hundreds of thousands and they're ready to get into the millions because they're ready to enter a new city or a new country in the world, that's when they reach out to me and they're like, "Hey, we have an interest to go with our company or our brand to a new network, or we're looking to expand into a new ecosystem, or we're looking to build a much bigger community or a stronger community." that's when usually they reach out to me. I don't just give them the answers and how to do it, but myself and the team tends to hold them by the hand, and we really help get them the answers, but also show them how they can continuously doing it themselves.
Thank you so much, Gil, for this broadcast. It's been amazing, and I think you're brilliant. Yeah, and I do remember I was actually there in London in 2015 when you brought that delegation of Russian, and I remember Richard and Veronica. They were good friends of mine. The Honor of Success Resources, and they did.
Yeah, this is a long time ago.
They
If you think about it,
yeah,
so
yeah,
much has
yeah.
changed in the world, you know?
I was there at that time, and I mentioned that Richard told me, you won't believe the delegation that came from Russia. They are huge. I'm like, what? How come they're coming from so far? And I didn't know that was you. Today I know that was you who brought them. Yeah.
Well, for
So
us, it was really special because we always believed in that part of the world. It wasn't just Russia, it was Russia and Ukraine and Kazakhstan and Moldova and Georgia. I understood that there's a massive part of the world there that no one was helping. And even though I'm not Russian, I wasn't born there, I just happened to live there as an entrepreneur, and the opportunity came through, and it just allowed me to make a difference. And I love that.
yeah, it was spectacular. And I wasn't aware that then you did one in Moscow with so many people. I just find out of this podcast. Congratulations. We organize events all over the world, and we know, you know what it takes. And exactly what you said. It's more than it takes. Is at the end, you're doing it for the people. This kind of thing, you don't do it for money. The work involved is more than intense, as you described. But I think the work that Tony is doing all over the world, to include myself, that I've been in his workshops several times, and I make a huge impact in my life and in the life of people there. We also were bringing people from Tony Robbins from London, and working with and Veronica, because on the same path, okay, to bring as much people to transform their life. So so I'm glad to meet you, and a great role model for the generations to come. So thank you so much, Gil. And for
Thank
all of
you.
you following the podcast, see you now in our next episode of Unstoppable. Our brave entrepreneur like Gil break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.